Vice President JD Vance has responded to criticism from his cousin, Nate Vance, a former U.S. Marine who fought in Ukraine, and called both him and former President Donald Trump Putin's useful idiots. "I love my cousin Nate and never spoke publicly about his service in Ukraine because I didn't want to endanger his life more than it already was," Vance stated, according to The Daily Beast. Nate Vance, who spent 3 years fighting against Russia, has been vocal in his criticism, particularly after an Oval Office confrontation where JD Vance and Trump accused Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky of being ungrateful for U.S. aid. He described the meeting as an ambush of absolute dishonesty. JD Vance downplayed the dispute. "As far as his criticisms, I have no interest in arguing with him in public, but I do feel the need to address one issue in particular, his failed effort to contact me," he said, noting that Nate could have reached him through family. Despite their differences, Vance maintained, "I always considered Nate the toughest guy I knew, and no matter what he says about me, my affection for him remains. I'm always happy to talk to him." Nate Vance told CNN he attempted to reach his cousin through official channels but never received a response. "I did reach out. He definitely knew I was there and at no point tried to make contact." A self-described Republican, Nate criticized JD's handling of Ukraine aid. "Regardless of the situation, there's a certain level of decorum that should be reached," he told CNN, calling the administration's treatment of Zelensky disappointing. Speaking to Le Figaro, he said, "When he criticized aid to Ukraine, I told myself it was because he had to please a certain electorate. But what they did to Zelensky was an ambush of absolute bad faith." He warned, "Trump and my cousin believe they can placate Putin. They are wrong. The Russians won't forget our support for Ukraine. We are Putin's useful idiots." Expressing frustration, he added, "I was disappointed. When JD justifies his distrust of Zelensky by the reports he has seen, I thought I was going to choke." His own cousin was on the front lines. He never tried to find out more. Nate returned to the U.S. in January, citing the risk of being captured. He had served in Ukraine's Da Vinci Wolves Battalion from 2022 to 2025. "Being your family doesn't mean I'm going to accept you killing my comrades," he told Le Figaro. Meanwhile, Ukraine has accepted a U.S. proposal for a 30-day ceasefire if Russia agrees. Following talks in Saudi Arabia, Zelensky announced the proposal includes a full interim ceasefire along the front line and the Black Sea. He urged the U.S. to convince Russia to comply. U.S. products face growing boycott as global backlash intensifies. As President Donald Trump escalates trade tensions with Mexico and Canada, a broader movement to boycott American products is gaining momentum worldwide, according to The Guardian. Canadian travel to the U.S. has dropped nearly 25% since February 2024, while in Europe, consumers are actively marking domestic products with black stars to encourage local purchases. In Germany, musicians are taking a stand, with some canceling their U.S. tours. Christian Tetzlaff, a German classical violinist, voiced his frustration. "There seems to be a quietness or denial about what's going on," he told The Guardian. "I feel utter anger. I cannot just go and play a tour of beautiful concerts." The impact is also evident in retail and business. Canada has removed American liquor brands from its shelves, while Tesla's sales in Europe have plunged, causing a 15% drop in the company's market value in a single day. In Sweden, social media groups are rallying support for local businesses while actively boycotting U.S. companies, including Facebook. Norway has also joined the movement, with the oil bunkering firm Haltbach refusing to supply fuel to U.S. Navy ships, citing political concerns over Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's White House visit. However, Norway's defense minister clarified that the government remains committed to its alliance with the U.S., emphasizing their close and strong defense cooperation. Beyond Europe, the boycott is affecting international brands tied to the U.S. The Guardian highlighted a statement from Takeshi Ninami, CEO of Suntory Holdings, a major Japanese beverage company. "We laid out the strategic and budget plan for 2025, expecting that American products, including American whiskey, will be less accepted by those countries outside of the U.S. because of first, tariffs, and second, emotion." The movement is also gaining traction online. Zoe Gardner, an organizer with the UK's Stop Trump Coalition, noted the surge in grassroots activism. "A lot of what we are seeing is coming about organically, people putting stuff on TikTok. People are so furious, and this is about taking back power." With consumer sentiment shifting and businesses feeling the pressure, the global reception of American goods appears increasingly uncertain. 5 of the world's wealthiest individuals who attended Donald Trump's presidential inauguration have collectively lost $209 billion since he took office, according to Bloomberg. Billionaires' losses. Among those affected are Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Sergey Brin, Mark Zuckerberg, and Bernard Arnault. Musk saw the largest decline, with his net worth dropping by $148 billion. Since January 20th, Bezos followed, losing $29 billion, while Brin's wealth shrank by $22 billion. Zuckerberg and Arnault each lost $5 billion. Musk's financial roller coaster. Musk's fortune peaked in December at $486 billion, the highest ever recorded by Bloomberg's Wealth Index. A significant portion of this increase stemmed from Tesla's success, which has since reversed. Musk also contributed nearly the $300 million to Trump's campaign and other MAGA-affiliated causes throughout 2024. Stock market struggles. Bezos's declining wealth reflects a 14% drop in Amazon shares. Brin's losses coincided with Alphabet Inc.'s 7% decline early last month. Zuckerberg initially benefited from a 19% surge in Meta's stock from mid-January to mid-February, but those gains have since disappeared. Similarly, LVMH, led by Arnault, experienced a 20% rise between November and January before losing those gains. Market impact. The billionaires' losses occurred as the Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted nearly 900 points out on Monday. Initially, the index was on track for its worst day since 2022 due to Trump's trade policies. At one point, the Dow was down to 1,000 points, which would have ranked among the top 20 worst days in market history. Tesla's stock fell by 15%, while major tech giants, including Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Nvidia, and Meta platforms, each dropped more than 3%. On Tuesday, the markets continued to decline, temporarily pushing Wall Street 10% below its record high. From last month, Trump press secretary clashes with reporter over tariffs. Question. White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt clashed with an Associated Press reporter over what she called an insulting question regarding President Donald Trump's new tariffs. Trump has been criticized for shifting tax policies, introducing tariffs on key trade partners like China and Canada. Leavitt, however, has consistently defended the administration's approach. During a press briefing on March 11th, AP reporter Josh Boak referenced Trump's address at the Business Roundtable (BRT) meeting, pointing out that while Trump had previously championed tax cuts in 2024, he was now pushing policies that Boak described as tax hikes through tariffs. Leavitt immediately interrupted. Not true. Boak pressed further, asking why Trump prioritized tariffs over tax cuts. Leavitt shot back. He is not doing that. She firmly stated, he is actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people, and the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. She went on to highlight Trump's tax policies, saying, as you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He has committed to all 3 of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year. Boak challenged her statement, responding, I'm sorry, have you paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies. They get charged on the importers. Leavitt countered by defending the administration's trade stance. When we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, revenues will stay here. Wages will go up and our country will be made wealthy again. She then turned her frustration toward Boak. I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Tensions between the Trump White House and the AP have escalated recently. The administration barred the outlet from the Oval Office and Air Force One after it refused to use the term Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico. AP spokesperson Lauren Easton responded, criticizing the move. Freedom of speech is a pillar of American democracy and a core value of the American people. The White House has said it supports these principles. She warned that restricting press access chips away at this important right enshrined in the U.S. Constitution for all Americans.